let's get on into these Braxton sisters. Darling, it done been a minute. Then I had two whole episodes since then, since I last reviewed it, and child, it done been a mess. So we last left off with the Braxtons. Now remember, I'll usually what I've started doing is reviewing Braxton Family Values. I believe we're still on season 5 or 6. And I've started to review Greenleaf. Now, my first time reviewing them, I did a whole smash up video with them because it's just easier just to do them two shows, and they're kind of like based on the church similar because the Braxtons got their start in church and Greenleaf is about this big mega church. So it's kind of just it works, darling. It works. I don't know. So I was just like, okay, let me smash these two up together and just have a moment. Um, but since then, so much has happened, and they went on ahead and done two more episodes of the show and all this. So anyway, I'm about to do the Braxtons. It's two episodes that I missed, and it's episode 17 and 18 because we're still on season 5. Apparently, I thought it was on season 6, but whatever. I guess they take a break, Braxton's, then they do Tamar and Vince, then they start back where they left off on the last season or whatever. Y'all know how they do if y'all watch the Braxtons. So anyway, episode 17 of Les Braxtons. Um, it was just it was crazy. I don't know what's going on with these girls. Like they're back at it. They're back arguing. They're back having moments, and it's just a sin and a shame. Like it really is. So I left off with it's this whole thing that Tracy, she's upset with Tamar because um basically Tamar had embarrassed her on social media. Now this happened like a few years ago, I believe. So I don't know why Tracy bringing this up now, but apparently Tamar embarrassed her when she said this was around the time when Tracy dropped her album, and she dropped her album on Tony's birthday, and basically she had posted, and said that this little lady right here has inspired me or whatever, talking about her sister Tony. And then one of the commenters said, I believe under the photo or just in a tweet to Tracy, which read that I want you to win a Grammy. You could possibly win a Grammy one day. So then Tamar tweeted or retweeted or whatever, and she said, "Is there a category for auto tune?" Shading her own sister. Now, we learned that the reason why Tamar said that was because when Tamar had lost her Grammys, because she was nominated for Grammys, and when she lost them, Tracy apparently posted a tweet and was holding up Tony's Grammys. I guess basically to make fun of the fact that Tamar hasn't won any Grammys yet. So it's just kind of petty and silly, but I mean it is what it is. Um, so we left off with Tamar actually coming to Tracy's room, and Tamar showed up, and she was just like, you know what, I'm not too big to apologize, and if she has an issue, I'm gonna give her one time to say what it is, and there you go. So Tamar knocked on the door, came in. As soon as Tamar and Tracy came in, neither one of them talked about what they was there to talk about. Because mind you, Trina and Tawanda had both talked to each one of them, Tracy and Tamar, about the whole situation. And they both had sides to the story, and they both had issues with one another. But when they got together finally, they didn't bring it up to one another, which was stupid to me. So we get in there, and as soon as Tamar sits down with Tracy, she's just like, Oh, girl, I listen to your radio all the time. I listen to you on the radio. You have a great radio gift and all this kind of stuff. And Tracy was just like, oh, really, boo? Because, it's been this whole thing that Tracy feels like the other girls don't support her or been there for her. And I can say that Tracy has definitely been the black sheep of the Braxton sisters for the longest now, especially season 1 and 2 for sure. But, as time has went on, she is more, intertwined and more included. And I just personally felt like they just always acted as if they was better than Tracy, to me. But maybe a part of that was just Tracy excluding herself because she felt like she wasn't like good enough or whatever to be with them because they went on and had careers and she stayed back in Maryland and raised her child with her husband and all that. So I don't know. Just kind of my thoughts. But so they was talking and Tracy was just like, "Oh, Tamar, are you excited about your new album?" She was just like, "Yeah, I'm excited about my new album." And Tamar, she snuck in a little dig. She was just like, the whole thing with the other girls singing on the album. Um, I mean, I'm cool with it. Everybody's just not invited to your party. I mean, it's cool. And Tracy was just like, "Oh, you was out of town and this and that." And Tamar went on to say, "You know how we used to argue and Jones on each other, which make fun of each other. Back when we were little, back when we were 2, 7, 8, 12, and 13. Um, and back when all five of us are just chilling and picking on each other and all that, we sisters, we gonna fall out. We not homegirls. We gonna have moments. We gonna get upset, and it is what it is, and we gonna move on from it. I just wasn't on your album. I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, whatever. But Tamar, you was in your feelings about not being on the album, not being on Tracy's song when the rest of the sisters was on the song, especially Tony. I don't think Tamar would have cared as much if Tawanda and Trina was just on Tracy's song. But if Tony Braxton was on the song too, of course I can do the song. Why y'all didn't call me? But and apparently we found out the reason why Tracy didn't call Tamar to be on the song was because of that tweet that she sent out that Tracy was still harboring over and upset over. I don't know all this time that went by and how Tracy hasn't addressed Tamar yet, but Tamar's not the easiest person to address with anything because she's gonna instantly get shady, and that's gonna make you defensive, and it's gonna be an argument. And there you go, and one or both of y'all gonna end up walking out. Um, so Tracy was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna hold my tongue because I need to be responsible of what I say to my sister, and I'm just gonna chill and dip it and do it and just breathe again, Tony Braxton. So they ended up making jokes and making light of the situation, not really talking in depth about the situation. So Tamar ended up leaving. So we moved on to Wanda, and she's walking in the park with her mom. And Tawanda tells her mother that Andre, which is her soon to be ex husband, I don't know if they're already divorced now, but that he wants full custody of the kids. And she was just like, "Baby, I had no idea. I thought y'all was still civil with one another." She went on to talk about her own broken marriage with their father, Michael Braxton Sr. Um, and she was just like, "My divorce was not civil at all." And it's this whole thing. This whole season is pretty much based around the fact that their father, Evelyn's husband, um, had got married 30 days after he divorced their mother, which is crazy indeed, which makes me think that that woman been there for the longest. Because who just marries a stranger 30 days after their divorce? I mean, it can happen, but most likely that woman been there, for the long one, for however long. So it's just it's a mess and it's a fool. But so what else happened? They talk, and the mom was just like, "You know what, Tawanda, I didn't know the whole situation, but you need to fight. This is definitely a situation where you have to fight. I thought that y'all could possibly work it out and be civil, but you cannot be civil during this situation. She trying to take your kids." And she was just like, "You know what, he asking for the property too." She was like, "Damn, he want the property too?" I mean, I said the same thing. I had the same reaction when I first heard it. I was just like, "Wow." And she was like, "Yeah, he want the property too." She was like, "You work like a dog your whole life, scrubbing up after Tony. Don't you let him get your damn um a house and want the condo in LA and the condo in Atlanta. Let's excuse me. But I was like, no, I'm not we're not gonna do that. And so the one was just like, you know what, I'm just prepared, and whatever happens, happens, and it is what it is. Let's see. Trina, she's talking to her financial advisor, and she pretty much wants to open up a new bar chicks. But she wants to open it up in either Swanee, Georgia, or Atlanta, Georgia. Everybody's saying Atlanta. Atlanta's popping. Atlanta's what it is. But she stayed 14 years in Swanee. I've never even heard of Swanee, Georgia, and I'm sure a lot of people haven't. So her putting the bar chicks out there, it's just like, girl. But apparently she wants to put a bar chicks out there because I'm sure it's a bunch of rich white people out there, and who don't mind getting drunk and don't mind spending money. So I'm sure that's why she was thinking about Swanee. But she talked to her financial advisor, and bar chicks have not been open that long, and she's already trying to get a second location. The financial advisor was just like, no, that's not a good idea. You need to be around at least 3 years, then you can open up another thing. But Trina was just like, no, I'm not gonna deal with that. She even talked to her mom about that, Miss Evelyn, about the whole situation of opening up another restaurant. And she was just like, no, I'm not gonna open up another restaurant. I mean, the Trina, she was just like, no, I'm not gonna wait 3 years to open up a new restaurant. It's we need to strike it while it's hot. People are talking about bar chicks, and hey, let's just go and let's just make this money. So she's thinking about doing a little pop up shop thing where it's like basically she's just gonna set up a little station, I guess in a certain area in Swanee or Atlanta, Georgia, and she's basically going to test and see how the consumers like the food and like the drinks, and see if they think it'll work there in that location or the other. So I guess she's going to just go to Swanee and Georgia just to set up shop and see which one works best for her. um Tony, she is doing a benefit concert in LA for Children's Hospital. She's sitting down talking and having moments. She is in this gorgeous gown, but she couldn't breathe in this gown apparently, because it was like a turtleneck. It was very tight up around her neck. So she had a lady cut splits in her neck area of her dress, and then she could finally breathe. But when she was just about to perform on stage for the the whole children's hospital moment performance, um she ended up, it was something going on with her ear, with her mic in her ear and all that, and it was like buzzing really crazy as if she could hear like all the noises outside, and it was like a whole bunch of buzzing and sound moments in her ear, in which could have damn near busted her eardrum. So she was, wilding out and acting crazy. And so, I completely understand that. But anyway, like a professional, she went out on stage, performed. Um, and we had, who do we have? Byron Allen. He is a radio personality, and he had his own show on TV One. He's kind of like an Arsenio Hall type. But anyway, he introduced Tony, and we saw Sherry Shepherd there, just as bad built as all get out, on stage with Tony, and they was singing, and she brought all the women up on stage, and it was a cute moment. It was cute. So that was all for Tony. Tony's on tour while the sisters acting a fool. What else happened? Trina actually wanted the advice of Tracy and Tamar on the whole bar chicks location, all that kind of stuff. And Tamar and Tracy, apparently to Tamar, they're cool. There's no issues. There's no drama. There's no nothing. And everything is cool and everything is swanky. But she has no idea what's a brewing, darling, that Tamar. So Tamar, Tracy, and Trina, they sit down and have a conversation and talk. And Tamar's just like, you know what? I want to invest in your business. As long as you put some fries on the menu. But Trina is strongly against putting fries on the menu. I don't know what the hell is the big deal. Even the fanciest restaurants got fries. I mean, so I don't understand. She just feels like fries is too common to her if she just want all extravagant type of food with these big fancy names when it all just boils down to be damn chicken or steak or mashed potatoes or a damn custard like creme brulee custard girl, sugar and eggs. So I was just like, all right, well, and milk. But I was like, okay, Trina, whatever. Trina feels like Tamar investing in her business would be the worst idea in history, and I actually agree because they can't get along. They could barely get along to do a damn album. Thank God they put out their little Christmas album, but they never put out a video for it or anything. For any one of the songs, they just put they just put the album out, called it a day. But those girls together vocally is just perfection. They really are. And I think that they miss the mark sometimes on the show. It's seeing them fight and all that drama. They keeps ratings going, but we really tune in to see the Braxtons to hear them sing, and I just wish they did a lot more of that. Just got along a little bit, just so we can hear them sing a lot more. But anyway, so Trina was just like, you know what, you run your mouth, and I'll run my business, and the host and out. So, what else happened? It was just like, okay, well, Trina wanted to invite the girls over for taste testing for her new locations. Let's see what else happened. The girls had went to church in this episode. They went to I believe it's a church in Atlanta, Hill something. Um and the lady is good friends with Evelyn. And her name is Miss something King. Thought it was a man. But I'm just saying. Oh, go back and watch the episode, and we'll see. But anyway, she's good friends with Miss Evelyn, and they call her auntie and all that kind of stuff. So it was very nice. So they all sat down, all respectable. Tamar brought Logan, all the sisters there. Tamar showing out, in the pew and showing out, and that blessed me. What? And doing all that and jumping up and down and hooping and hollering, just acting a plum fool, just being Tamar. So Miss Auntie King, she just decided to invite the girls up there to sing, and they sung Lord's Prayer. When they sing the Lord's Prayer, I mean the angels come down, darling. They went out to eat after the church, and that was when Tawanda, she wanted to ask their auntie, the pastor, what is her take on divorce, and she was just like, "Child, I've been divorced 3 times, so you want to get advice from me?" And she was just like, don't nobody know what's going on in your household but you, and just stay strong and work it out. Then Tawanda told all the girls. She had already told Trina and the mama Evelyn, but she haven't told Tamar and Tracy that Andre wants full custody of the kids. And Tamar was about to lose, and she was just like, "Oh hell no, that's her kids, and you can't take our kids and this and that." And then Tawana was just like, "You know what? I don't want to talk about it." So then the auntie was just like, "Tamar, let her say what she wants to say. If she don't want to tell you about it, she'll tell you in her own time." And Tamar was just like, "But I just feel like," and she was just like, "Now wait a minute, don't let me spank you." That was a cute scene. I was just like, "Okay, please get somebody to shut Tamar up sometimes. It's her mouth, I swear." I think she's a lovely person. I met her once, and she was really nice, and she's a cool chick. But yeah, being her sister, I'm sure is a different story sometimes. So let's see. They had a little conversation with their dad. This was before Tawanda. It was before Trina's taste testing thing. When they had a conversation with their dad, and Tamar asked their dad, "Do you have any thoughts on, that you want to give your daughter during her divorce?" And the daddy was just like, "Make sure you completely end the relationship before you get into a new relationship." Like I said, because he didn't properly end the relationship with Evelyn before he remarried. So it was just a whole mess. So get into the final scene of the episode. was where the girls actually sit down and they're tasting the food. Trina had sliders. What else she had? She had some cauliflower, um, like barbecue cauliflower or something, and then she had fried chicken. And all the girls showed up except for Tony because Tony's on tour. So they're sitting down and they're talking and they're having moments. And Tamar's just acting up, just chewing the chicken. Why does chicken taste like pecans? Why does chicken taste like pecan pie? Trina was just like, because I have my vanilla pecan dressing or something on it. She was just like, yeah, but why you got that on there and all that kind of stuff. And so they started to get on fries again, and she was just like, I don't want fries on the menu. She was just like, I would like fries with my wings. Even Tawanda agreed with Tamar. Um, Trina actually asked the chef that was cooking the food for them, do you think that fries is the appropriate thing to be on the menu? And chef was just like, look, people are asked about the fries being on the menu. So I don't think it would hurt anything. And Tamar feels like her sales would boom if she had fries on the menu. Um, and Trina completely disagrees with that whole situation. And it pretty much went left after that. You can tell by Trina's face. And she was reacting to every single thing that Tamar was doing. But Tamar was just being herself, annoying, childish, and petty, and just being that little sister. So it was just like, you know what? I'm not dealing with you today, and I'm not fooling with you. It almost instantly went left. Um, Tamar was just like, I'm just trying to talk to you, and I'm just trying to tell you what it is, and you're so stubborn, and you don't listen to nobody. And would you grow up, Trina? Please grow up. And Tamar was just like, Trina was like, oh, you need to grow up, and you need to grow up. And Tamar brought Tracy in it by saying, you know what? It's the same way. Like you, them type of people that don't want any suggestions. Like you don't want honesty and all that. You just want people to tell you what you want to hear, so you do things yourself and stay where you at. Just being a little really like low key nasty or upfront nasty. And she brought Tracy in it, Tamar, because she was like, just like if I tell Tracy, if I do a song with Tracy, and if I tell Tracy that didn't sound right, that part she sounded, I would expect for her not to get in her feelings, just to redo it. And of course, that was a dig at Tracy, and that brought back the whole feelings of Tracy, Tamar sending the tweet about Tracy being auto tuned and all that kind of stuff. So that brought up those old feelings, and Tamar was just like, to Tracy, she was just like, Tamar, think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying, Tamar. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Tamar, think about what you're saying. Tamar, think about what you're saying. Trina in the background, she knows exactly what she's saying, Tracy. She knows exactly what she's saying. See? You see that shit? That hoe know what she's saying. She know what she's saying, hoe. And you know, they kept going back and forth and it kept getting more and more ugly. And she was just like, you have bad energy. And Tamar was like, I have good energy, is what Trina said. And Trina said that you have the worst energy in the world, actually. And then Tamar said, your baby daddy, your baby father, which was a dig at Trina. And then Trina said, so is yours, talking about Vince. So then Tamar was like, don't play with me. And then Trina was just like, what to what? And that's when Tamar said that you're pathetic. And so that really hit Trina. Trina sat down and said, you know what? Why don't you raise your child by yourself? Talking to Tamar. I was done. Tamar's face dropped, her eyes got big. You could tell she was pissed, she was hurt, all that kind of shit. She was just like, what the fuck you mean? I do raise my damn child. Trina, Tracy, she's trying to get the girls together. She was just like, Tony ain't here and I'm next in line, and I want you and Trina to shut up right now. Be quiet. Tawana was just like, Tracy. They end up walking off, Trina and Tracy. I was like, oh Lord. So Tamar was just sitting there looking like, what I do as usual. So lean into the next episode. We got Tracy. She outside in the car. Trina's out there talking to Tawanda. And they're having a conversation. Trina's just like, I'm just so sick of her, and I'm sick of her mouth, and she knows exactly what she's doing and all that kind of stuff. Oh, Trina also said that she need to stop getting their mother to watch Logan for her. And I was just like, ooh, child, that's a dig. That's an old family. That's an old kitchen table talk. Old sister talk, old cousin, old auntie talk, child. I was like, oh Lord, they spilling all their tea. Um, so they get outside, and Tamar, she gets in the car with Tracy, and she was just like, "Can I get in?" Tracy was just like, What?" You know, just all up in her face, being a little aggressive, being like how Tracy is. But Tracy was just like, "You think I'm gonna hit my sister? You think I'm gonna hit my sister?" Tamar was just like, "But you acted like I'm gonna hit her." They got out the car and had a conversation. And Tracy was just like, "You know what this about? The auto tune, Tamar? Really, really, Tamar? I don't know. It's your issue. Like, I don't know. Yada yada." Um, she was just like, "And all that what you did, and you put out your album, you know, to basically to block my sales or to do certain stuff." And Tamara was just like, "I'm not Rodney Jerkins. I'm not Babyface. I'm not none of these people. I can't determine when my album's gonna put out." Apparently in 2014, I believe, 2014 or 2015 was when Tracy put out her first album, Crash and Burn. And then that same year, I believe, was when Tamar put out Calling All Lovers. So they was both kind of around the same time as Tony's birthday. Tamar's album was actually put out 2015, October 2nd, my grandmother's birthday. And Tracy's album was put out like around that same time, but it was a little later, in a few days after the second, whenever Tony Braxton's birthday is. But I think there was different years. But anyway, you know, Tracy, she was in her feelings, not really making clear sense. And Tamar was just like, I didn't do this, and yada yada, and you know, this whole thing with Tracy and Tamar honestly could have been avoided. Now the whole thing with Trina and Tamar, that's a different story. That was just gonna happen, in that moment, because of food. But Trina, but Tracy and Tamar, that could have been handled when Tamar and Tracy sat down to have that private conversation when it was just them. But it could have still went left, and they could have still, who knows. So it's just a lot of deep rooted issues as to how they feel and all that kind of stuff. So Tamar, she walks off, she starts crying, no teardrop, but she started crying. Um, and talking to Tawanda. And she's just like, "Why do you guys think that I want my sisters to fail and all that kind of stuff? And I'm a nice person and all this. And how long y'all been thinking that y'all want mommy to stop raising my child and all this kind of stuff? And y'all think just because I got a nanny that I'm less of a mother and all that kind of stuff." Trina was wrong for that. Tamar, she walked off with her husband. She cleared them tears up real fast, because it wasn't nothing to wipe. So she just walked off with her husband. She was just like, I'm going back to my $15 million mansion and my child that y'all don't give a damn about and all that kind of stuff. And she got in the car and left. Meanwhile, Trina and Tracy was in the house, and they was talking and having a conversation. And Tracy was telling Trina that you cannot say what you say. You cannot bring our kids into it. Talking about you need to raise your child and all that kind of stuff. That was, a very low dig, which I agree with Tracy. She was just like, you can't do that. And Tawanda came back in. It was just too much for damn Tawanda. And Tawanda's going through her own divorce and her own issues. And, it's just unfortunate. Tawanda really is a middle child. Like, um, she's trying to sit and talk to them, but they just have their little arguments and little petty arguments. And Tawanda really needs her sisters. Like, Tawanda is the person that's strong all the time. She tries to be strong all the time, but even the strongest people need somebody sometime. And it's just Tawanda's little divorce is nothing compared to chicken wings and shit. So let's see. So we have the girls, they schedule a meeting. Well, actually, Tawanda scheduled a meeting with the girls. And she wanted to sit down and talk, and she was just like, I just want to be selfish right now because I'm going through my own shit, my divorce, and I need all my sisters like with me because I'm going through my own mess, and I can't do this alone, and it's a lot going on. I just need y'all. Tamara was just like, yeah, I know it's a lot going on with you, but it's a lot going on with me too. Trina apologized to Tamar, but Tamar didn't really accept it. She was just rolling her eyes. She was just like, you know what? I don't have to explain my parenting skills to somebody who don't check on me. If you was that worried about how my child was doing, you would come over there and visit me. And she had some wine glass. Honestly, Tamar was hilarious in this episode. She had me dying. I was done. I was like, Tamar's a trip. Which is true though. I mean, why don't y'all go over there and check on y'all little nephew then? But who's coming to LA all the time though? And they're in Atlanta, so that's another thing. But mm, they could babysit for her every once in a while. I mean, it is a whole lot of them. They can take turns. I don't know. If everybody got their own situations, everybody grown, so I don't know all the family details and all that shit. So whatever. So Trina, she was talking about the whole chicken wing thing and all that, and Tamar was just like, you know what, you just don't need to ask nobody like their opinion if you're gonna do what the hell you want to do anyway. They ended up getting into a whole argument again, and then Tamar was just like, you guys, I done been through my own things. I'm going through my own mess, and Tamar's trying the whole process of trying to get pregnant, but she ended up having a miscarriage. It was called VCP. I don't know what it's called. Um, like the technical term, but she was trying to get pregnant. She ended up losing her daughter. So she had some eggs that was in the freezer, as they say, and they was going through this whole mess trying to get her body ready for pregnancy, and she actually was pregnant, but she ended up miscarrying. I said that like 6 times, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. Hopefully. Um, So, they was upset. They kind of had the sad face, but you could tell they still didn't really care. And Timur was just like, I've been going through my whole thing. And so now with this whole miscarriage thing, which is going to be Tamar's thing, issue on the show, I guess separately, besides her issues with her sisters, Tawanda's whole divorce thing is just going to be swept under the rug like everything else. And I'm just like, damn, Tawanda. Like, I know how that whole black sheep feeling feels. So it was just like, that's fucked up. Um, so nothing really I saw from that conversation. Trina and all of them just ended up getting up. They kept getting into it back and forth with Tamar, and so that was the full. Tony gets back into town, and Tamar ends up telling Tony that she had a miscarriage, and Tony was upset. I've always felt like Tony and Tamar was the closest, and then Tawanda and Trina was close, and then Tracy. I feel like Tracy's more close to Trina and Tawanda than she is to Tamar and Tony. But I feel like Tracy's just always just been kind of just by herself, just with her, brother and her dad who lives in Maryland with her. So I feel like she was always closest to them. But you know, it's just very it's very interesting. What is that noise? I don't know. But anyway, what else happened in this episode? Trina's really stressing out about the whole pop up shop thing. She don't really know what to do. She's going back and forth, and um, hopefully she works it out. Swanee, Georgia. I gotta look that shit up. I don't think anything else of importance happened in the episode that I can think of. No, besides the big argument at the beginning, I think that was pretty much it. Um, oh, the sisters did all come together at Tony's spot and had a conversation, and they really didn't get anything done, anything squashed. Trina and Tamar is pretty much still upset with each other, But at least it seemed like Tamar and Tracy have kind of mended fences, so that's good. And Tawanda's just hey, I'm here, So that's pretty much it, you guys. You guys tell me what y'all thought about this review. This is a long one, but I had to combine both of the two videos, child. Um, Chase King was here on Facebook at His King's World, Instagram, and Twitter. At His King's World on Snapchat. At His King's World 89 on Snapchat. Chase King was here on Facebook. At His King's World on Instagram and Twitter. All that will be in the bottom bar below my social media handles. And I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.